I'm live now. Yeah. Hold on a sec, guys. All right, congratulations to everyone in on the high setting, high line center, high interference position locations. You've come this far, right? Why don't we just keep going, right? Quitters never win, and winners never quit. Okay, you have to understand the position line direction, what that means. It's all calculation streamlines. In a correction line interference, it's to understand how to use your positions to all levels of direct line setting. To understand your emotional location is to understand the how it operates locations, how you see yourself, how to balance out your frequencies, how to balance out your energies. Understand the position locations of what it is to your data streamline setting. Understand the correlations. Understand the activation lines. Understanding the upgrades, the downloads, the uplinks, and all line settings. You understand the importance of what this is. It's all levels of you, right? So today in class, we're going to go through the construction locations. We're going to go through 5-channel operator streamlines, okay, into high setting. You guys have to come into algorithm setting, line in and rotation to its moon setting. But the moon has to understand its recognition timeline. So we're going to go into back time setting into 369 platitude line rotations. The moon's going to go through all position locations to your setting line setting. In the high interference, it's going to go through recognition onto its own shadow work. It has to recognize you through its position. Going back into being rebirth, line center locations, and all of its biological line connections in its directions. Getting you guys out of 369 and putting you into platitude division locations to your arm chain line setting to 6, 7, and 8 equals line condition of 9. So I'm also going to show you how your moon is set in location, how it's birthed inside of you through constellation. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Getting everybody ready. We also have Q&A, so you obviously can have questions. You have a test coming up. I think the test is going to be based on next Friday. I don't think this Friday is just basically just getting you guys warmed up, really understand the central communication settings, electrical light connections, electrical panels, high lining and rotations. Your moon is all position line directions, letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols of where you are in track locations. Okay, your moon and your sun setting and high line center location is already in its future, but you're in the present line. Okay. So when you construct something, it becomes something. You are something. You become line centers of space. You become all line center locations of time pi. Okay. All right. Madeline calculations. All of the Tara, Gingy, position location of Jill position line setting, Adam, position locations of Gypsy, Lindsay calculations. All of those Sam, all those Airbender calculations. Chris, Val. Eric, how you doing? Gina, line center rotations. Ryan, position location. Nikki, line center interference. Andre, calculation setting. Level position line directions to Bell position David, line center JP, line position location Belinda, line position location Johnny. All of us calculations of Guardian line center high interference, position locations of Max. All the calculations of Russ, Andy calculations. Jared. Okay. Direction line centers. There's 2 energy line centers offline interference. All position locations. Lindsay track locations. Setting communication settings, all those are high setting. All right. So once we get a correction of timeline. Now, this is the moon setting location in my position, or where it is in calculations, right? When you look at this, it's extremely high rise, okay? But I'm just showing you how this is all set up, okay? This is my moon, okay? So the recognition of timelines is time interference of position, locations, platitude, line, center, rotation, calculation all levels, solar graph, strain settings. So you have the grounds, you have the powers, and the atmosphere. This has a magnetic line, high interference, line connection, position. Now you have to understand the Earth, you have to understand the angelics, and you have to understand space. Okay. The recognition line, center, and high line rotation interference has to recognize all position, location, and calculations. How it recognizes you and always informs emotional locations. All right. Temperature readings, allocate timelines, time stream high interference, galaxy sets, galaxy shift lines, rotation centers, high interference location north, south, and east, and position them all levels, east wing, west wing, south wing, north wing, calculation streamlines, allocate timelines, high interference, position location, hieroglyphic line centers, down position line centers, dimensional lines, high interference calculations, high stream, high rotations calculation, multi-layers, megaverse calculations, multi-communication settings, all levels of high center interference, galactic high setting interference, weather calculations, stream settings, all position locations to your moon setting. Okay. So understanding the moon is understanding you. You become the moon in all line setting. It's very powerful when you come in that position, location, directions. All right. So we're going to into basic ground setting to all levels of power setting to the atmosphere line setting. Setting position location to its magnetic highway information line setting, which is its data stream. Okay. Your moon has to understand you through its thought. And if it doesn't understand through its thought, it's certainly not going to understand you through emotion. Your track line center is your 12 DNA. So one more look at this before we get started. Okay. So what I just said is all this. Okay. Multi-layer line centers, recognition timelines, high line rotation interference. They're going to split position locations. Okay. By position line directions and position line setting. Okay. This is opening the moon setting. Okay. Core recognition, center line positions. All right. So once you understand the communication line center, sets line rotation interference. Okay, sets locations into high center locations. All right. Y line center to flux capacitor communication. All right. Setting calculate. Now you see the intelligence. So center calculation streamlines is to understand how it positions its direction location in 3, 6, 9. Now the planet division location is opening cycle. It's very, very high rise. So it has two atom line centers of core recognition and high setting and position location directions. All right. So in that direct line center, it comes into solar generation light setting. Okay, solar generation high system. So the allocate timeline center is position locations to its metal line center rotation, setting calculation streamlines. So the core recognition line center is liquid lava communication, all of those electrical light connections and position line directions, right? Electrical light settings. Set line position locations into the male line setting in line center interference into female calculation stream. Right. So the moon automatically becomes its moon and it becomes its female line setting, split in position of two line rotations in calculation setting high interference. One goes one way, one goes the other way. Comes into the double helix. This comes into all levels of its comet to its heli of its comet setting. Okay. The moon has to have its polarity. It has to have its paradigm. It has its polar shift. It has to have all calculations to its system to understand the parallels. Okay. It's all position line directions, the paradox calculation settings. The moon is set location to its core, right? The core recognition line center location that you is a heart generation light stream to your unified system, which is its awakening setting. Okay, so you have to understand all communication motion locations. In that direct line center, you come into the atom rotation line center in position locations. All right, so understand your tracker system is all calculated to this moon setting, opens all levels of operation communication setting. Now, in that direct signals and high interference like unit connection position locations, it automatically comes into its triangulation position of direction. See the triangulation? Set line centers of 3, set lines are 6, sets line position of 9, 3, 6, 9. This is platitude division location and calculations, 3, 6, 9 line setting. Now, to take it out line center rotation interference, sets position. So set line center is high line center, high interference, okay? 3 lines into 3, 6 lines into 9. Comes into position locations into a line setting rotations into an XT1000 line. See the UFO communication? Ground line center and new operation streamline sets position of ground settings. Okay. So the understanding location is the birth communication setting is 369 platitude. It's how to get to 369 is 36 operation settings. Okay. So the moon sets locations into its operation setting, which is all levels of operation. And then you have position locations, right? So that's 12 operations of U in calculation setting to its moon setting. This is the GOD, the geometric operation of the design to all global communications to its 12 DNA, which recognizes its core line center colorations to your rainbow. Okay. Position line direction is the secure line defense, which is another 12, and 12 line settings of protection. 12, 12, 12, 36. 36 comes in line setting and high line center rotations and position. 36 fields, equal line center locations of 9, 3, 6, and 9. Okay. So the birth line center comes into a UFO XT1000 line in rotation interference. First foundation is all communication setting, how it recognizes the core recognition of timelines, time interference, position, moon setting, rotations, right? Core recognition line setting to its position. Core, the inner layer, outer layer. Okay? So this is how it's birthed in your position line settings and how it becomes 3, 6, and 9. The planet division locations allocate timelines, time strips, high center interference. This is the moon setting location, right? Solar graph line setting cites its system location calculations. Moon beams across line centers of water communication setting. Okay? Setting communication line setting all in position of graph lines. 0, 0, 1 setting high centers. There's 4 0 calculation settings and position location directions. 4 0 line settings. And then we got 6 0 line position locations into high center interference. Boxing 3 line positions into top, medium, and ground setting position locations. 3, 6, 9. All right, so 9 line settings into 4. 4 into 9 line setting. So that's 4 position location and triangulation and point system. So this is how it comes in a moon setting line setting interference and a moonbeam position location to its water in calculations. Right, that's how it casts a shadow into its water. Setting calculation streamlines is treated in a set position of code signals. Open position line direction is extremely powerful when you come into that setting. But now you understand the birthing of 3, 6, and 9. How it comes in locations. Right? Flux capacitor communication. Right? Starts with that. Ground setting rotation. Starts with that. Circling interference. Starts with that. Electrical light connections. Starts with that. Open signal line position. Starts with that. Solar generation light streams. And line center locations. Starts with that. Now, once you come in calculations, it all levels its VAS, volume, and position location of velocity. So VAS equals velocity, line center locations, and volume communication equal line center locations of 3, 6, and 9. Sets communication high setting and direct location. Now, once you get in that position line directions, the VAS becomes all levels, which becomes its velocity into its vector. The vector calculation sets line settings. So in that direct locations, it's true to send a set tone in communication, ground line setting rotations into your positions of your chakra settings. Okay. So you got 7-layer communication system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lines of layer line position location of graph streams. 45-degree angle, setting position location, high setting. High line center, high interference locations. Moon sets line position locations. Now the vibration setting sets rotations into 0s and 1s. Calculation streamlines. Okay, 1 center location and direct location to graph lines. It's like a calendar to a map sequence pattern communication to all levels calculation setting. Okay, very complicated. All right, getting in that position line directions, you have to truly understand how 3, 6, 9 came into the birth line center rotation to you through calculations. Setting line settings. Okay, so we do this again. Okay, in line center rotations, flux fast. Okay. So line position locations, this is what it is. Your moon comes into this position, very beginning. So center line communication into past communication into future, okay? Communications, center lines, past and future. Okay, so once I understand that, it understands its coils, flux capacitor communication setting, indirect location, all right? Now, the point recognition line center locations opens all position location of 3, sets line position location of 3, sets line position location of 3, sets line position location of 3, all position line centers in communication system, balance calculation setting. Past recognition of timelines, high line center location of 6 position locations. Future line position location is the 9 line setting. 6 equals 9 line position, right? Planet division locations into moon setting locations, all right? All right, so getting into that communication, showing you in so many ways and forms the importance of what it is through positions to your third eye. All right. Third eye communication. That's all it is. but the position line direction is now in a higher line communication of flux capacitor into 6, 7, and 8, right? 6 lines of the moon in set locations, the 7 line center of the cosmos, and 8 into your telepathy in position, okay? All right, so now you understand more levels of the moon setting, how it sets all position, location, and calculations to data streams, correlations of panel lines in position locations. Here again, the moon setting locations, all levels. Complicated situation here. Trying to understand position line direction, what it's doing through calculation streamlines. Moon sets line position. So as the moon sets up line position, E graph line center, high line rotation interference has position location on levels and calculation streamlines. It's a data line interference location to its position location of its measure. Measure communication scales. Scales line center, line interference, always have the flux capacitor in position and directions, right? Ground setting line rotation into its archetype, swing in one way to position location the opposite high system. Line directing is extremely powerful with that line center rotations. Line communications, all levels of high center interference. Moon line center rotations and communication system. Allocate timelines and time interference. That's how the moon can travel in all levels of triangulation. Okay. All right. So again, 369. Flux capacitor communication setting. 3 line centers of 6, position location of 9. All right. Center calculations, all levels of high center location, north or south and east. Okay. We got the west, we got the east, and we got the south calculations, right? I'm showing you always in forms. You understand the importance locations, all right? Back triangle line center, and a high interference location. Put them in position location all levels. Now the position line starts put in the 7th dimension, 8th dimension, 9th dimension, 10th dimension, 11th. Line center, high interference. Get them in position location of foundation, rebirth line center, biological line center, high interference location calculations. Get the moon setting line center rotation of its consciousness. Get them into frame line center. Get the moon and frame center position location, the calculations. Bring them out of 369 and put them into 678, 9 setting. There you go. Boom. You're done. So high line center comes into its triangulation. All right. Planetary visual locations all of understand how to use the 3 line setting, how to use the 6 positions, and how to use the 9 line setting into the center operation. Okay. Using the center operation is all levels of travel, records of time, sets, line, position, high setting. All right. So I'm doing bit by bit so you understand position, line, directions. All right. Okay. So it's all about understanding the birth of 3, the birth of 6, and the birth of 9. Okay. So it's going to help you what 3 is. You circle its connections. You circle the 6 and you circle 9 setting. Okay. 3 line positions, travel locations. 6 line positions, travel locations. 9 line connections, travel locations, but back into the center communication. Okay. So when the moon comes in position, this is the moon setting. All right. You understand the position of north, west, south, and east. North, west, south, east. Okay. 12 DNA. Okay. 12 DNA line setting into your rainbow. Okay. Rainbow communication setting line positions. All right. North, west, south, and east, 12 DNA in your rainbow. So line connections 12, 12, and 12. Okay. 12 of operation, 12 of security, and 12 of protection. Okay. So it sets communications right away to 36 lines of field communications. Right. Now, temperature readings, the moon setting, line setting locations, very powerful communication system. 98% line connections, all right? 98 rotates its spin cycle into 107% line. That's the reaching physical line center rotations. Indirect line setting. So the moon sets location 98. 98. So the moon becomes a thermometer in position locations into its measure. Okay? So screenshot that line setting. We'll move on to the next location. All right. In that direct setting, it's to understand how to use position, location, and directions. Once you understand the heat signature patterns, then you understand the galaxy settings. Galaxy setting rotation, galaxy setting rotation, galaxy setting rotation, galaxy setting rotations. Circle interference, circle interference, circle interference, circle interference. Okay, so set line position of north, set position location of east, set position location of west, and set position location of south. North, west, south, and east. Okay. Correlation line setting is all levels of temperature readings coming into spring, coming into fall, coming into winter, and coming into summer. Okay. So I'm just showing you the basic understanding why it's so important to set up your moon in position, location, of directions. It is very fast in position, line, directions, all those setting. So your moon is a dimensional door line. It's a positions to a modem to a Wi-Fi setting location. All right, it's dimensional settings, high line center rotations, atmosphere lines, indirect locations into travel position line directions, all levels of channel operation. Okay, so you have to recognize line settings, all three moon setting. All right, so when you get into that position, the moon sets locations. Let's center the communication of the moon. All right, these are cloud locations right here. The cloud here, cloud covering over the moon setting in direct locations over eye setting. Okay, so this is the locations, right? Your moon's there, right? Moon's there. All right, so setting position lines, I'll calculate streamlines, and rotation setting, high interference. Okay, dimensional doors are opening up location of your moon, right? Travel location right here, right? Electrical light conditions travel here. Electrical light conditions travel here. Electrical light conditions travel here. All right. So you come into triangulation to its position, location of its directions, right? That's what you just finished doing through the moon setting. The sun is a little bit different. It's all through a sprinkler. It's just, rainbow wash, rainbow streams, rainbow graphs, high setting. The same thing, position locations, but the moon is different because the moon sets its position of its motional setting. Okay. But that's exactly what it is. You're creating the core line setting first in direct locations. All right. So this is day one track setting to moon setting operation. So we got moon operation, moon equals operation setting / setting location. All right. Travel line setting and position locations into core line setting, high line interference of solar direct locations, solar system position line setting, high setting calculation into flux capacitor setting locations, setting communication of 6, 7, and 8 line and position 9 into your diamond core line setting. Okay. So, we all having fun yet? All right. Remember, this is day one of your moon setting. Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah. What happened to 6? Because 7, 8, 9. Much love to General. I gave that. You can joke about these things. It's pretty interesting locations. But it's really understand the communication to yourself, which is all levels of the moon setting line, interference of operations, but you got to get your locations in. So now you understand how your moon was birthed into 3, 6, and 9 through geometry setting, right? Makes more sense now, doesn't it? And then it gets more easier because there's so many communications that you can do with your moon. If I set moon locations in the same locations, right? Planet division locations always has its flux capacitor, right? Because it's in position of its communication of its center of view right here. This is the center operation of view, the moon setting. Comes in position of its past and position location of its future. Okay. Compute system, okay, into all levels of program to its position of its form. Okay. Setting calculation to its high line center to open all communication of its dimensional round line rotation. Okay. Setting high in line rotations to its circle line center rotations, its calculation settings into its position location of its E fields and its added rotation setting. Okay. So there's so many levels of your ecosystem to your moon setting. Okay, moon setting, moon equals line setting. Set line position locations into triangulation of all levels of 6, 7, and 8. 9 sets here in center line position. Okay. Now in that line center rotation sets 2 position of tone settings. Okay, 2 line centers, 2 line center line position is what? Security crosses string lines. Set lines high line center into position of vibration. Setting calculation setting. Okay. So that's security setting line conditions into high center locations. So this is ground level and set line position. Okay. That's a formula to the moon. Okay. So there's so many communication settings when you understand what your moon is, all position, location, directions, right? It's very powerful, right? But you have to understand how it works for you inside. It's opening up dimensional doors of your moon, which is you, which is your motion, okay, which is your temperature readings, okay, your north, west, south, and east, your spring, your summer, your winter, your fall. It's all inside you. Recognizing the grounds, the powers in the atmospheres, the earth, the angelics, and its space, and its atmospheres, hemispheres, stratospheres, biosphere, brainosphere, hydrospheres, ultraspheres, bioconnected spheres. There's so many line communications, all levels of line settings, dimensional, interdimensional, multi-layers, mega universe, multi-universe, all calculated and modified inside the moon setting. To understand you is to understand the formulas of you through teleportation. Okay, your track line center and position of your moon is in the future now. And it comes in position location, it comes into the center operation of you first. But you have to construct the moon setting location of its core to its inner core, to its inner layer, to its outer layer position, right? Setting up 36 line settings. So get 36 line position, equal line condition 9, right? That's 36 fields. Okay, setting positions, split center locations, right? Moon setting here. Okay, so 3 line centers over all position locations into 6 position location program setting of the moon. So in position, in line setting, 6 equals line position locations into levels into 12 set calculations. Half pipe. Half pipe comes here, line setting, 6 position locations equal line center locations of 3 times line position of 3, line position locations, all levels into 9,000 channel lines in high line setting. 9,000 channel lines in high line setting into flux capacitor of 3/6 and all level line center location that equals 9 line setting interference. So complicated, isn't it? What your moon is and what you can do through formulas, equations, through teleportation, right? So you're going to get a lot more informative, and your motion line setting is going to understand the vibrational graph lines. Okay, there's a graph line to the moon setting. Moon here, moon here, moon here, moon here, moon here, moon here. Okay, your moon is traveling, right? So let's say in your 30,000 line setting, you can line conditions of 3 0 line position locations, bracketed surface location, right? You have to bracket the center lines, right? And then you got the flux capacitor in position. Always have the flux capacitors, right? Always, 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 always in the moon setting. Because you're off center locations and you don't have your flux capacitor, you can't travel through the grounds, you can't travel position of the power line center to the magnetic high information system. You set a obsolete line setting that sets off position location to your 6, 7, 8 equals 9 line position. So it's very important that you understand how to travel locations in that direction, right? So this is what your moon is doing every second, every minute of your hour of the day. Okay, 3 line settings, set line positions. So let's say you go 3, 6, and 9. Okay, so you got 3,000 line centers of 0 gravity, 6,000 0 gravity line setting, and 9,000 gravity line center locations in flux capacitors. That's how fast your moon is going in position location of its directions. Channel operated streamline settings, the high center interference, 30,000 line. So 30,000 line, 30,000 line positions. Okay, equals line position to 30/million miles per second. Ooh, wow. So why is it so important to understand your motion line setting to your moon line rotation interference, position location direction? It's extremely powerful when you understand the vibrational graph lines. So this is where it comes in all communication system. Here's your moon line center in position, right? So this is where you come into alpha line setting. This is where you come into communications. You can go into theta. You don't have to be in order. It's just in position. You're standing still. It's moving very fast. You come into beta waves and calculation setting. Set location of mega line center rotations and calculation setting. So in position locations. Now, all line centers, you have to have all position locations of what you're doing through alpha and your communication of data and location of all levels of delta. So it's going like this. Okay. This is what it's doing every day. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 3 line centering, 4 lines, and 5 line rotations. That's your video graph line centers of your alpha, theta, beta, omega, and your delta connections. All right, it's traveling. All right, so how it travels is all position line directions. So you got the video graph line setting. Let's start off with location of theta. There's a theta wave, right? Moon set location. That's your moon. So your moon sets here. It sets grounds. Okay. Your moon is here, right? Remember I did a TikTok video and you saw it go in triangulation right away through the graph string line setting, the grid line rotations, and it moved in position, location, triangulation. Wow. So it's in triangulation. This is the space / position of time. Highline setting, position, location of mass equals its equation to its position locations. All right. So that's what your moon is doing when it reaches line positions. It travels on its own, has its own position, has its own teleportation light stream. It has its own time capacitor. Okay. Very powerful when you understand the moon emotional line center to your videograph line center location, your data stream line setting. It comes all to this location and it merges into anything through calculation settings. It's very powerful when you understand what your moon is and what it can do through you through travel. Okay, all through your 12 DNA and your videograph line settings. Okay, you got a coloration of graph line. There's your graph line setting. Okay, so let's think of this. Let's put it in line center location at 2. Okay. All right, so we got 3 line settings as circle, line center rotations. Circle, circle, circle. 3 line positions, right? So it's a roadway, road graph setting. Remember, you always have to have the grounds, always have the line connection, and you always have to have your flux capacitor. Travel, right? Stoplight. So line position location of red, line position locations into yellow, and line position locations into green. Okay. So red is stop on the line center. So your moon is here, and you're telling your moon to stop in position. All right. So this is where you can control your half pipe communications, so teleportation light settings. This is where it comes in position locations. Right. There's the moon. There's the sun. Okay. So it's very powerful when you understand Mara lines. You guys are gonna have to watch this over and over and over and over. I'm going through formula, through travel, all through the moon setting. Why? Because it's balanced. Why? Because why is it balanced? Because it's balanced because why? You have to understand how to use the how of its moon. You understand? I'm showing you extremely powerful what happens when your moon starts bouncing around inside of you. Okay? That's how it travels on its own through its own reality, becomes in your lines to your manifestation of its creation. So you actually can see your moon travel in your realities to its position. The communication line setting is all line rotations. Let's say you get a 4 line rotations into 0. 0 equals 0 line position location. Moon sets line position location. All levels of high center interference, flux, fast position location, direction. Let's start there. Okay. Setting calculation high line center into moon position. Line centers into compute line center program of its unit system. Center communication, XD1000, UFO line rotation. Center communication, zip-zap zoom, set calculation. There you go. Done. Formula. All through the moon. All through 0 equals 0 gravity. Okay? So communication line settings, extremely powerful stuff location. And what is your moon doing? And why and how is it the purpose, position, location of travel? Travel communication system is all levels on how you set the location of your tone settings. This is how you come into size graph line settings. Size graph here, size graph here. Okay, so your moon's here. Why is the moon always there? Where's the moon is set location? Always in the center operation of view and calculation. Okay, set communication size graph, set communication size graph. So your moon travels extremely fast in set location. So that is your intention line position location when you have all emotional line settings in position line directions. Your videograph stream line centers, your data stream line rotation interference, your calculation modification streamlines. It's all levels of formula to its equation locations of E equals MC squared. Hooah. Are we having fun yet? And this is the first day. So we got 5 track settings, line position locations, and 2 bracket services. 0, 0, 0, 3 line settings. High center location of 3. Let's go in positions of 12,000. Set line position location calculations into 1 million position line directions. Okay. 3 into 12,000 in position line directions into 1 million settings. Okay. So you're telling the moon to travel that fast in line center rotation. Okay. So you have to really pay attention to these things, guys, because it's all levels of travel settings. So your moon can travel anywhere it wants, any speed that it wants. But if you're in a capacity location of 12,000 line setting, okay, you have to really bracket its center locations. Because remember, you have an area code. So think location's area code right there. This is the area code. And you got a 7-digit line. So area equals 7 locations, right? What is 7 location? Your body system. Woohoo! 7 chakras. You got an area code of 3. Your bracket is 3 line settings. 3 0 locations, 0 0 0. You start with the 0 gravity. You're telling your moon setting locations to go 12,000 line setting, 12 line positions. 12 times line position of 1 equals line position of 12 million miles per second through calculations, all through 7 graph line centers in positions to your capacity of your body setting. Ooh-wah. So, are we having fun yet? Yes, it's very, very powerful when you start line setting location of formulas and equation locations. You really have to get into direct location of travels through your geometry, line setting location, and moon settings. This is very high rise in communications, right? But this is a formula of equation location to its moon. I'm telling the moon that set locations, the area line centers at 3 0 locations, the gravity setting, 12,000 line setting, the high and line rotations per second per channel per operating square per mile. Calculates over line, factor over by, calculate streamline center, the 7 graph streamline center, line positions, 12 times 1 is 12 million miles per second. That's how fast your moon is going in 7 bodies of water in line setting location of you in track center. Ooh-ah. Glad you guys are having fun. Right? I love setting up formulas for you guys. This is all levels of the moon, but it's got to be built inside first. You have to understand the core. You have to understand the position locations to the inner core. Then you got to understand the outer core, right? And then you got to understand the outer layer of its core, right? So your position location starts here in line setting in position, right? So you got a circle line center rotations. So you start with the core and you work your way out in high line center rotation, right? So now you know what the moon is and what it can do through you through travel. All right, day 2 coming up. All right. Physical relaxing, blasting and out of the body as we create our moon and galaxy. Yeah, that's it. Galaxy setting location, north, west, and east. But you have to understand your temperature readings. Now, when you have a moon setting location, there's your moon again, right? Moon is sitting in the solar graph line. There's a solar graph line, right? Calculation all lines and location of Saturn. Saturn's coming in line settings. Saturn position locations, assist locations. Electrical lights, 3 triangulation, right? Sets position locations. So to use the number is to understand the space of its number in set location. There's 9 center line settings, right? 9 set, 9 equals 9 million, okay? So that's 9 million positional lines of square, equal line center location of equation, sets position location of tone, equal line conditions into calculus, equal line center locations of factor, and line setting locations of pi. Ooh-wah. So the importance to understand what your moon is and what it does for you through emotional setting, how to get your abundance in all ways and forms, is to understand the geometry location of its moon position, of what it's doing, what is its purpose. Because the position of the moon, once you construct it from inside, from outside line setting, which is all levels from inside location to its inner core line center inference, it sets position locations, right? It travels on its own, which is autopilot. So you have to be very careful on your emotional locations, right? If you're in 15 line settings, 15 equals line setting. So line slash setting, let's start with that. 15, right? So let's say you go to 15. Well, let's start off 15,000 line. Okay, 15,000 line. All right. So you bracket. You always have to bracket the zeros, right? Because remember, it's the area code. Area code, equal line conditions to the moon, right? So you're setting out 3 line settings of 0 gravity. You start always 0 is gravity because it's positions to your crop circle. All right. So you bracket experience line position of 7-digit number. 7. Equal line connections of digit number location, right? That's your phone number. Line direct setting, all position of 15,000 line setting location to the moon setting. Woo! So now you get a little bit more understanding why the moon is so important. way beyond levels that you can even imagine what it is to you inside your heart system. Oh boy, it's beautiful, isn't it? I know you guys have a lot of questions. So this is about understanding your capacities and your emotional settings, because you have to understand all levels. Same with communication. If Johnny is position line centers of 520 megahertz, okay. If he's in 528 megahertz, his line center location of his moon has to be in position line directions into all our calculations. If he's in 144,000 line of capacity set line position locations, he's going to be in 144 equal line center locations to 144 equal line centers into 1 million setting calculations of 528 megahertz line rotations, 444 million miles per second per channel per operation through one thought continuous force line, a track location, all through music, all through the moon setting, right there. So it's so important that you guys balance out your moon, but to understand the moon is understand the core of its center location, right? And then you work your way in position of its out, but it's in. So you're going from here out, but the out is the in. So, and then when you go out, your moon sets up. And when your moon sets up, and go anywhere it wants, to do anything it wants, through triangulation to a half pipe setting. See? Very powerful. What your moon is and what it can do for you. All right, so we're in 41 lines. Bring you guys back. All right, you're back. Set locations, closure portals, calculate settings, all levels of pre-flight set locations. Check. Make sure you portals are now closed because you're connecting to the moon now. Moon is a sensitive issue. It's the moon position line to its moonbeam that sets its communications to your line setting, to all position locations to its waves, such waves, alpha waves, channel waves, activation waves, stream waves, data waves, calculation waves, omniverse waves, multi-waves. There's so many communication line settings, offline interference, if it doesn't understand position location to its half pipe of its moon setting location. Okay. Very powerful class, all through formulas of equation to the moon. It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah, you're still floating. So now your moon is starting to recognize you for the very first time. Congratulations, guys. We're opening up the position locations of operation to moon setting. This is exciting stuff. All right. Setting tone line center high interference. You guys got just a little bit less than a half hour line center high interference in the locations. We're going to stop there because the formulas are way too high for you guys to understand in position line directions. We do have Q&A, but I'll see you guys soon. Adios.